You are looking at episode 5 in my work truck conversion series. And I think by this point you know how it goes. You know, I was looking for the ultimate work truck. You know, like the perfect work truck for all my needs. And instead I got this thing. So what I've been doing is attending to some of the mechanical stuff on the truck. You know, it's like a 6-liter Power Stroke, needs some TLC. But mainly I've just been building out this flatbed. Back in this tail section, we're gonna need a little bit more than this 2x4 to get this baby down the road. New grinder. Oh, and then I also got a new thermostat. I gotta show you this. This is kind of like shop trivia. Okay, thermostat is gonna go right here on the wall. Because previously my thermostat died and I just sort of connected the wires together. So it's like always thinking it's really cold. This is my shop heater. This is the beast that produces all the carbon monoxide for the shop. And the best thing about this heater, well, you know, ceiling mount and everything, a little roofing up here to direct the heat away from the flammable ceiling. But the best thing about this heater is that it runs on the stick. The stick keeps the basso switch open. I think this thing is supposed to have a magnet or something, but it doesn't have that anymore, so I use a stick. Stick the stick in there, and this baby's like flame on. Okay, that's enough shop trivia. We gotta get cutting on some metal. Basically, my design here, is kind of dictated by what I've got. So what I'm gonna do, here's what I'm thinking at least, is I'm gonna do some 3x1 stuff, kind of like where the 2x4 is. I'm gonna put a piece there, and that way this whole back end is gonna kind of cut in a little bit. It's not gonna come down and over. It's gonna kind of cut in and have some supports going this way, and then have some kind of background supports locked into the frame right here, like some stuff kind of coming out. I'm not gonna attach to the hitch, but it's gonna be over the hitch, I think. And if we really get fancy, we're gonna throw some taillights on this thing. You know, this is really weird, but without like actually planning this or anything, this guy is like perfectly level and beneath this front piece here, so that's good. That doesn't usually happen. What's kind of funny about that is that there's a rake to the bed. You know, the flatbed, it's flat, but it's not necessarily level because the truck's kind of got a little jackadoo to it. So anyway, that works out pretty good. I like that. And I just need to sort of start, you know, just kind of building stuff and see where it goes. I kind of have to decide at some point if I'm sheeting on the front or on the back. Yeah, that's just like a little bit cruddy, just the slightest bit cruddy. Okay, new tip. Alright, so that's the foundation, like the bare bones of this tail section. You got like a little slope to it, a little bit of back slope for the sheeting at least. Alright, it's time to bust out the ram board. If you haven't used this stuff, this is like, you know, if you're building in someone's house and it's kind of like a little bit on the fancy side, you might put this stuff down on the floor so you don't wreck the floor with your muddy boots or whatever. But you know, it's good for this kind of thing because it's like a little bit thicker than paper, but it's not so awkward and awkward as cardboard. There's always part of me that just kind of thinks, what if I left it like that? You know, a little cardboard back end with a couple of clamps, Ramboard Home Edition, call it done. I mean, I got to at least take it for like one spin in the neighborhood like that, you know, like just once around the block. Okay, this might be like a little bit messed up, but my original plan was to take this inside section here and kind of make it like potentially recessed. So flop this piece of sheet metal in and weld it on the bottom so that I could utilize this as a bottom step. All right, so that was like my sketch on paper plan. But now I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh man, that is one clean back end, you know, just really simple single sheet of sheet metal, potentially. I think they'd both be cool. I like the idea of the recess. It just adds like a little design variation, whatever. But dang, that's also like more place for water to get in and rust and infiltration and whatever. Whereas this just looks like the Ramboard Home Edition clean and simple option. Anyway. I'm not actually cutting out the wheel wells right now, or even sure I'm gonna do that, but I just need like a little time to think about that back rear end Ramboard dealio. So I thought I'd play with some lines. All right, just put this guy on the wall, and oh, that is gourmet deluxe. New thermostat for the carbon monoxide pump. Now, it goes without saying that if you got a truck like this with absolute taillight delete, like no turn signals, no lights or anything, the absolute last thing you should do is drive that truck. I mean, that is just dangerous for you, you know, for other people on the road. It's just wrong. You know, you get those indicators back there for a reason, you know. Your lights are sort of like your communication system with the rest of the world, and you need to show restraint. I didn't actually drive it anywhere. We just have kind of like a back lot on our property, and I just go back there sometimes to kind of, you know, tool around. I just did a bunch of grinding on this. It needs like a ton more, but I find grinding very boring. So right now what I'm going to do is CNC my holes for all my lights. Alright, so I got to locate these bolt holes, and one trick I use is I just goop them. This is a Sharpie Mean Streak. It's kind of like a waxy, goopy pen or whatever. Anyway, I just put a little bit of that goo on there, and that'll mark my holes. Then the wires on this fixture have a kind of built-in grommet, so I'm just going to use a step bit to go through so I don't have to add a grommet. And before you freak out, I should probably say that this is just, you know, like a dry fit. Just getting these guys on the back, see what they look like. If they look horrible, I'll move them, or if they seem too illegal or something. I gotta make like a little decision here. Got some options on the license plate frame. So basically I got a couple different product samples, both fairly cheesy. This is the like smoked one, you know, it kind of makes your plate looks like it's smoking. A little bit smoked, got a little rubber back. I kind of like that one. But this other one is funny. It's like fake carbon fiber. Kind of like this cheesy smoke situation. The only reason I need to put the plate on there is because I got a license plate light. Man, they got lights for everything, regulations and stuff. Alright, now something's just not right about those lights. Put them at the angle for two reasons. One, I thought I'd kind of mimic the angle of the cut on the back, but then also that was like an easier way to bolt them because there's just like a lot of room for bolting, but I just don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. It's just like a little too, it's like trying too hard or something. Now that's another option. You know, you can always keep it like sort of one up, one down. Oh, there we go. Got a little play in my hole. So I think that's gonna be better. Just gonna weld up the holes and call it good. So I was talking to Melissa about this back bumper, and that's probably like a real relationship killer. You know, you're like, hey, you want to talk about the back bumper? But you know, she indulged me and she was like, all right, tell me about it. So I was telling her, you know, I'm gonna add some backup lights and some tail lights, and there's gonna be a light for the license plate, and there's gonna be steps, and there's gonna be, and I think she stopped me at that point and she said one word, one frightening word. And I've heard this before. She said, edit. All right, so what does that mean? Don't do a bunch of crazy ass stuff. All right, so here's where I'm at with the bumper, okay? I've got my back floodlights. I love those. I've got those on the other truck. They're sweet. You're backing up in the dark, blast them back. It's just gonna be sweet. Okay, I got my back floods. I got my license plate, that's required. Got to have one of those, got a light over it, that's required. And then I got my tail lights, 1, 2, 3, simple, clean. Now the hitch kind of works as a step. You know, kind of, you can get up that way, but I'm just kind of like debating adding a step under here that comes out 5 inches, a little textured kind of thing. Step right here, step on the other side. I also got these dudes. I picked them up, $9 a piece, and they're fold down steps. So I could put one sort of over here on the corner, fold down step. There's a strut right here I can attach it to. Fold it down, fold it up. It's not a ton to step on, but probably enough to get the job done. Basically, you're supposed to edit, but it's also nice to just weld and screw and bolt just like a ton of stuff to the back of your truck. And with the addition of like 10 more things, I think the back end is pretty much dialed in. These guys still aren't bolted down. I gotta bolt those guys. They're just holding with clamps, but I'm pretty much decided on those little flexi steps. Now I was thinking about going with a weld-on D-ring or even like a weld-on shackle mount, but that's kind of like a level of commitment I'm not ready for yet. You know, these guys might move around or not be needed or whatever, so I went with the bolt-on so I could always extract and weld in the holes. These are also $4.98 at Harbor Freight. It's not perfect, but the goal of this work truck conversion project is not perfection. There is much more to be done on the work truck. I mean, that's kind of always the deal with work trucks. You know, you're always kind of working on them, and you're gonna see my progress in the next video.